Come in and let this be easy. Not the difficult kind of receiving that requires effort and concentration and the careful management of whether you're getting it right. The easy kind. The kind that simply happens when you are present and open and willing. The kind that is less like catching something and more like standing in a warm light and letting it land. Take a breath that is easy, that does not require anything of you. And stay. I want to say something to the part of you that has been working so hard on your own becoming. The part that has been dedicated and sincere and genuinely deeply invested in the work of growing, healing, aligning, expanding. The part that has brought real effort and real attention and real time to the project of becoming more of who you want to be. The part that has, through all of this, been doing its level best to earn the expansion it is seeking. I want to say something to that part that is going to seem initially like it undermines the entire project. And I want you to stay with it long enough to discover that it does not undermine the project. It actually frees it. Your expansion is not something you earn. Your growth is not something you produce through sufficient effort. Your becoming is not the result of working hard enough at the right techniques in the right sequence with the right understanding. Your expansion is the nature of what you are. Let me explain exactly what I mean. You are a living system, not a machine that stays the same until someone applies force to it, not a static configuration that remains unchanged unless the right inputs are applied. A living system, and living systems, by their nature, by the intrinsic nature of aliveness itself, are expansive. They move toward greater complexity, greater integration, greater expression of their potential. Not through external force, but through the internal momentum of what it means to be alive. This is not a metaphor. It is the observed behavior of all living systems at every scale of organization. From single cells, which are constantly metabolizing, adapting, responding to their environment in ways that move toward greater homeostatic coherence, to the most complex forms of biological life, which are continuously growing in the direction of fuller expression of their specific nature. The movement toward greater life is intrinsic. It does not require external motivation. It is the baseline activity of the living thing being fully what it is. Your consciousness is a living system. Your growth, your genuine, actual structural growth, is the natural movement of your consciousness toward fuller expression of its own nature. It is happening all the time, at every level of your being, with or without your conscious participation in it. Not at the rate that your conscious effort tries to produce, and not through the specific mechanisms that your conscious effort focuses on, but happening, continuously, inexorably, as the intrinsic nature of what you are. Every experience you have is reorganizing something. Every conversation, every book, every difficult season, every moment of genuine encounter with another human being, every quiet hour of simply being alive, all of it is working on you. All of it is adding to the complexity and the depth and the integration of the consciousness that is navigating this life. Not all of it in visible ways. Not all of it in ways that can be measured or assessed or reported in a journal entry, but all of it. You are expanding right now, in this moment, simply by being alive and receiving and attending to what is present. Your consciousness is doing what consciousness does. Integrating, adapting, growing toward greater understanding and greater depth and greater coherence with the truth of what it actually is. The effort. The sincere, dedicated, valuable effort of doing this work consciously does not produce the expansion. It participates in it. It speeds certain aspects of it. It directs the conscious attention toward specific areas where the growth is most needed or most wanted, and in doing so creates conditions that allow certain specific developments to occur more quickly and more completely than they would through purely unconscious living. But the expansion itself is not produced by the effort. It would happen regardless, because it is what you are, because living things grow, because consciousness, by its nature, moves toward fuller expression of itself, because you cannot stop your own development any more than you can stop your own biological processes. You can slow it or accelerate it. You can direct it more or less consciously. You can engage with it more or less deliberately. But you cannot prevent it, because it is not something that happens to you or through you contingently. It is what you are doing by being alive. This understanding does not mean the effort is pointless. It means the effort can stop being anxious. The anxious quality of a lot of consciousness work. The am I doing enough? Am I getting it right? Am I growing fast enough? Is the work working? Comes from the implicit belief that the expansion is contingent on the effort. That if the effort stops, or is insufficient, or misses something important, the growth will not happen. That you are solely responsible for producing your own development through the correct application of the right practices. But if the expansion is the nature of what you are rather than the product of what you do, then the effort can be something different. It can be less like straining to produce something that depends entirely on your straining and more like consciously participating in a process that is happening regardless. Less like pushing a boulder up a hill and more like learning to navigate a river that is already moving in the direction you want to go. The river is your natural expansion, your intrinsic growth momentum, the inherent movement of your consciousness toward fuller expression of its own nature. It is already flowing. It has always been flowing. You did not create it. You cannot stop it. What you can do, what the conscious work is actually for, is remove the things that obstruct the natural flow, the resistance, the interference, the accumulated layers of old story and old wound and old limitation that have been blocking the natural expansion rather than the expansion being absent and needing to be created. The work is not manufacturing growth. The work is removing the dams. And from that perspective, the work becomes less fraught, less urgent, less shadowed by the anxiety of whether you are doing enough, because the river is flowing whether or not you are working at maximum effort. The growth is happening whether or not you are perfectly aligned and perfectly practicing and perfectly applying everything you have learned. You cannot fail at your own expansion. You can slow it. You can make it more painful than it needs to be. You can keep the dams in place longer than necessary. But you cannot stop it because it is not a project you are managing. It is the nature of what you are. Your expansion is inevitable, not as a comforting idea, as the actual structural living reality of what is happening in you right now, in this moment, through the simple act of being alive and present and conscious. You are growing, right now, without effort, without correct technique, without sufficient spiritual development, simply by being what you are. And the work you are doing, the sincere, dedicated, valuable work, is making that inevitable expansion more conscious, more directed, more rapid, more aligned with the specific life you want to live. It is good work. It matters. Keep doing it. But do it without the anxiety of someone who believes the expansion depends entirely on them. It does not depend entirely on you. It is in you. As you, the movement of life itself through the specific living system that you are. You are already expanding. You have always been expanding. Let that be the ground beneath the work rather than the prize the work is trying to win. Your expansion is inevitable. Rest in that, and then keep going.